Hello and welcome to another episode of Swim Sets by the Pool. I'm Nathan Cohen, a professional triathlete, and I've also been helping people learn how to swim better for, about 10 years now. And with me is Greg Harper, as always. Greg.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, Nate. I'm also a professional triathlete. Grew up swimming, was on a swim team from age 4 and beyond. And yeah, I've been teaching people how to swim since I've been a teenager and into my adult years. And yeah, once I raced Michael Phelps in a 200 butterfly and he crushed me. That
That's
was
a
a
bummer,
highlight in
man.
my swim career.
Did you ever
Actually,
feel like did you feel like
I
you
was
had him at one point?
I will say, part of me thought I could beat him. I was fully shaved and tapered, and he had like this massive beard. Like he was just like, oh,
Nice.
I'm just out of meat, and I just like, all right, it's my chance. I think he beat me by like 8 seconds. So, yeah, not really
That's a
close. That's
bummer.
kind of light years in the pool.
Hey.
Um, give
But
myself credit. Is that what you're gonna say?
hey, you were in the pool though. You were in the pool.
Yeah, yeah. He was a big dog. He was too cool to come in the ready room beforehand.
Mm.
Um, Anyway, we got a good set today. We're going to be kind of breaking it down and hopefully giving you guys a nice digestible swim set that you can take to the pool.
Yeah, but
Yeah, what do we got?
Yeah, so right before we get in the set, my quick tip of the week is practice your flip turns. Whether you're a swimmer or a triathlete, anyone can benefit from doing better flip turns. It's a nice reset each stroke or like each lane of the pool. Get to engage your core again, do a nice tight streamline. So yeah, practice your flip turns. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and kind of work on that breath control and just being overall comfortable in the water.
Hmm.
If you're scared of a flip turn or you can't hold your breath for the 3 seconds, that's something you should work on. And yeah, it might just make you a better swimmer in general, and you can feel that speed off the wall with a tight streamline and practice trying to sustain it because that's what swimming's all about, sustaining that fast speed.
Yeah. Also, if you have good flip turns, one of the old people at the pool will compliment you on how good your flip turns are. They'll be like, "Oh, I was trying to swim next to you, but then you flip turned and you were gone." That happened to me the other week, speaking from experience. So it'll make you feel good about yourself, regardless.
Confidence is key. Confidence is key.
Yeah. It's real. Honestly, sometimes when those older people at the pool give me compliments, I'm swimming like 2 seconds faster per 100.
Yeah, he might be watching. I gotta keep
Yeah.
pressing, feeling good. I feel
It,
that 100%.
Exactly. Okay, so this swim set, it was written on a whiteboard. It was by the pool. Greg provided this swim set. Is this from Boulder? Is this from Boulder?
Courtesy of North Boulder Recreation Center. Yes.
Nice. Awesome. So if you can't see it, there isn't really like a warm up. But it does say lane one at the top and it just goes straight into kicking. We're just gonna assume they did like 5-10 minutes warm up. So let's just call it 500 easy warm up.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then it goes into 3x200s kick at 10 seconds. And then there's a little arrow that says 100 free, 100 non-free, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Seems good. So 3x200s, 100 freestyle kick, 100 breaststroke kick. I don't know. Butterfly
Yeah,
kick.
maybe you drop the board and do backstroke kick on your, or yeah, butterfly kick on your back or
Yeah,
flutter
yeah.
kick on your back, something like that.
Nice.
Um, I will say this is a kick heavy workout in general. It's definitely like a club swim team, something like
Mm.
that, and definitely important to do one of these once in a while if you've never done kind of a kick heavy workout. But maybe not 3 times a week or something like that. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I would not do a kick set 3 times a week. I do some kicking probably right now. I'm swimming 7 days a week. I'm doing like two kick sets, but they're
Hmm.
usually at the end of a normal set. But I also like I hardly kick, to be honest. Like I'm trying really hard to just do a two beat kick just to like use my legs as little as possible. But what do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I would agree. I think you kind of got to have that kick in your arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what you're doing, whether you're swimming or it's a triathlon, you want to speed up to get on someone's feet or get out fast. If it's a mass start, you kind of need to rely on your legs. But maybe once you settle in, you can kind of relax the kick a bit. Now, I will say I was training with Brett McMahon last year, and he was a 20-year pro triathlete, two-time Olympian. The amount of kick that guy did was insane. Like we were doing a 6 to 800 or 1,000 kick every day, pretty much all in the warm up. Like he did a lot of 200 kicks, so he was a front pack swimmer. He once had the Ironman world record at like 7:45 at one point. So, I mean, most good swimmers and triathletes do kick. And maybe you just do 2 or 400 a day and just kind of
Hmm.
in part of your warm up. Um, a hard kick set will make you want to throw up. Just
Yeah.
disclaimer.
Yeah. Cool. So what's the next part of the set?
All right,
Are we
so we
keeping
got
that warm up 3x200s? That's pretty good after like a 500 easy.
yeah, yeah, I would say so. Yeah, 3x200 kick. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't have any effort. It seems kind of you're just kind of moving through it. And now we'll kind of get into some other stuff. So this next set is 3 rounds, and it goes 450s of drill progression on the 55, one 150, same stroke as the drill progression, and you descend your stroke count by 50. That's on the 220. And then 425s butterfly kick on 30, 100 butterfly kick on 140. So in total, it's um 450 of
Hmm.
stuff, kind of 50s, 150, 425s, 100. So yeah, I mean 450s drill progression. I like that. I mean, I think doing a bit of drill is good. And what that means, say it's butterfly and you're doing kind of some rolls, some dolphin rolls, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna do 3 rolls with then into a pole, and maybe the next one you're doing 2 rolls in a pole, and the last one you're swimming. So that one can be tough because you might not have a progression in mind. But yeah, maybe we could give a few as an example when we kind of doctor up the set. And then you go into the 150 at the same stroke. I kind of like when you do a drill and then you do the stroke, right? Although if you're doing
Hmm.
butterfly and you're doing a 150, that would be tough.
Yeah.
But it's descend stroke count by 50, which I also like a lot too. I think just manipulating your stroke count is just a good tool. We're not going to swim in triathlons or open water with incredibly low stroke count or really long, but I think practicing that, whether I'm gonna do 10 strokes this lap and then I'm gonna do 14, and then I'm gonna do 10. I think it just kind of helps you learn and understand. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then just a bit of butterfly kick at the end.
Yeah. Gotta
What are
love
your first
some.
impressions? I mean, a
I
lot of cake, obviously.
Yeah, dude. I guess I just have a question. Do you think doing kick in the pool from a triathlete's perspective is a great way to work on building core strength? Do you think that's a good reason to do kick? Especially like butterfly kick, because I feel like
I
butterfly
think,
kick
yeah,
really works my core. Like my core is always burning after I do some butterfly kick.
I think butterfly kick for sure. That really, the butterfly kick is hard for people to get down, but it really starts right below your navel, kind of
Hmm.
that upper core. And that's kind of how you flow through the water, kind of from above your belly button down to your feet, like you were like salsa dancing or something. It's really
Yeah.
rhythmical. Um, Now freestyle kick with a board, it's like a lot of people kind of get that arch in the lower
Mm.
back, and you're not really in a great body position. So I would say you're probably not really using your core that much. You can kind of get away with not even using it.
Hmm.
So I think if you're really focused on it, maybe without a board, it could be a good core strengthening. But I mean, swimming is in general too, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't, so if you're swimming and rotating from side to side, like you're kind of using your core and your lats and the sides of your stomach. So um, now vertical kick in deep water,
Mm.
definitely you can target that core. So I think it's good to do. I would say try
Yeah.
vertical kick. It might uh, expose some inefficiencies, but not something you have to overdo, I would say.
Hmm. Okay, so would you change anything about this set to make it appeal to, because you said it maybe was like a club swim set. How
Hmm
would you make it appeal to like a wider audience?
I think the 450 is kind of a drill progression, good, and then the 150. Maybe you do the first 50 as like that same stroke, if you're doing a different stroke than freestyle. and that last 100 could be freestyle. If you're going to do a drill progression, I mean, to a wider audience, I guess they would probably do freestyle on the drill
Hmm.
progression. So then you go into the 150, descending the stroke count by 50. I like that.
Hmm.
Um, I would maybe change the 100 at the end, like another 100 butterfly kick. Maybe throw in 100 IM swim or just
Okay.
swim in general. What about you? What do you think? I like the 425s butterfly kick. Like you said, like maybe
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
that core. And they're 25s. You can take a longer interval,
Yeah,
but
for
you're not
sure.
like going on and on with long
Yeah,
kick reps.
I would occasionally do like some butterfly kick on my back in like the 50-meter pool. Um, just like the whole way. And that was like really challenging for me, not gonna lie. Doing a whole 50 with like no break of butterfly kick. Or what I would do is I would butterfly kick off the wall until I couldn't really anymore, and then I would just freestyle kick. But yeah, I think the 425s is good. Yeah, but doing a 100 at the end, swim or IM, I think is good. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's how we'll kind of change it up.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. And then the next part of the set is 5 times 4 100s. The odds are 50 kick, 50 swim on the 140, but I mean, you could do like maybe 20, 30 seconds rest. And then the even
Mhm.
sets are 50. What is that?
Catch up. That's what I've
Catch up.
decided it is. Yeah.
Catch up. So
So,
what's
like
catch up?
catch up is when you basically are touching your hands in front in freestyle.
Hmm.
So it's like you wait to pull until your first hand touches your second hand out in front. So swim,
Hmm.
touch up front, take another pull. It's kind of to help lengthen your stroke, and it forces you to be able to like sustain flotation without like an arm anchoring you underneath your body, because at
Mm-hmm.
some point you'll have both hands out front and then you kind of take your pull. So um yeah, good drill. Definitely a really standard drill of growing up and swimming.
Yeah.
Or you go 3/4 catch up where you get like kind of close.
Yeah.
um and a lot of swimmers have strokes like that, but I think it's good to practice. But if you're swimming open water or something, you probably don't have a long kind of catch up type stroke.
Hmm.
But also on this, it's descend as well. So each group of four is descend. That's kind of what that arrow down
Oh,
means.
okay.
So
See, I was wondering about the arrow too. For those of you who
I
can't see, there's an arrow.
I like that a lot actually.
Hmm.
I think descending is, yeah, just I do a lot of descending still when I swim. It just changes it up. You're like, oh, I can, and it doesn't say descend to sprint or anything. You're just like, oh, I'll just
Yeah.
kind of work it a little more on each one and then reset. I don't think I'd really change anything. I
Hmm.
mean, it's 5 times 4 100, so the odd sets are 50 kick, 50 swim, and we could switch it so the odds were catch up then swim. So we'd have 3 sets of the more swimming ones and then 2 sets of the more kicking ones, kind of just to help with our theme of doing maybe a little bit less kicking.
Hmm.
Um, what do you think?
Um, yeah, I think honestly, for this set with how much kicking there was before, I would take out the 50 kick and I would do maybe like a drill to swim. So 50 drill, 50 swim. Because you can never do enough drills, like working on your technique.
Yeah. Well, we could go like 25 scull, 75 swim, something like that too.
That sounds
I
good.
like
I like that
I like
actually.
skull a
Yeah.
lot too. So we just did a little bit of drill. Um,
Yeah.
I know I feel like when you're halfway through a workout and it's just like, oh, 50 drill, people will just, if you're gonna be really diligent and focus on it, that's great. But I feel like
Yeah.
you have to be almost little bit realistic as well. Like, oh, I'll just like half-ass this drill, and then
Yeah.
what are we doing in the end, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, 25 skull, 50 swim on the odds, and then the
Yeah.
evens are 50 catch up, 50 swim.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
good. I do
a lot.
schooling pretty much every day. So yeah,
Hmm.
just a little bit. For me, it really helps connect like my fingertip to elbow when I
Hmm.
do schooling because I have kind of like floppy wrists. Like if I don't think about it, my wrists will go eat just like limp essentially. So doing the schooling just makes me have like a nice connection between that fingertip to elbow.
No, that's a great point. I remember when I was teaching swim to kids growing up, I always say, hey, fingertip to elbow, this is your unit. Like it's always on the same plane, right? I mean, maybe your hand can be like slightly on a different plane, but like fingertip elbow, that's your anchor. That's your anchor of the pole. We never want our hands doing weird stuff. And, elbow to fingertip, very straight line. And, an incredible, if you can connect that with your hip drive and your, lunge forward, that's powerful swimming.
Hmm. Yeah, swimming's tricky because I feel like it's such a balance between being holding tension in your body, but also flowing and being sort of fluid. It's tricky.
It's like, yeah, all right, be tense, but be relaxed. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
what?
dude. Yeah,
When
it's
if you
crazy.
think about the recovery, it's like, you can feel your forearm. It should feel like, kind of loose, but then you get into the water and then it's tense. It's like, it's a hard, yeah. I mean, most swimmers can do that subconsciously. Like myself, I've been swimming my whole life, but it's hard for people to kind of turn on and off.
Hmm.
And knowing where people have a lot of great energy in the pool, they're not putting it into the water in the right ways. And I mean, that's swimming. That's that's what we're all trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, I was watching Sam Long's Sweat Elite video the other
Oh, I
day.
saw that on YouTube. I hadn't watched it yet though.
Yeah, and he's one of the best 70.3 athletes in the world. And everyone knows his swim is not great. And the video started with one of his swim workouts, and he was talking about um, how he did all out 100s on the 5 minute. So he did like five, I think it was like 5 100s or something. I'm not sure, but on 5 minutes. So like tons of rest. And he said he was going 105 short course yards. And then the set he was doing that day was like four 100s hard, one easy, three 100s hard, one easy, two 100s hard, one easy, and then one 100 hard. And he was going 105, 106. And he's like, yeah, I guess I'm like, and I'm swimming good today or whatever. But I feel like maybe what it could have been was, and I'm not sure exactly what his training was before he did that, like those 5 1s all out. But sometimes when you're trying so hard, you're like you were saying, you're putting the energy into the wrong space. So if you're like, oh, I gotta swim fast, I'm just gonna go super hard. And I always tell people it doesn't matter how hard you swim, it doesn't mean you're gonna go faster. So maybe for like the next workout, he was a little bit more relaxed because he wasn't thinking, oh, I have to go all out. He's like, oh, I have to do all these hundreds. And he was swimming the same speed essentially. So
Easy speed. Yeah, that used to be a thing I could hear from coaches too. It's like, oh, you're doing
mhm.
200? Okay. Obviously, you want the first 100 to be fast, but it's got to be like easy speed, and then
Yeah,
you can
my
kind of
coaches told me
ratchet it
that
up.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And yeah, that's kind of why it's when you write workouts saying 90 or 95%, usually will end up, yeah, it'll be a better result for the athletes you're coaching, probably. They'll feel like,
Hmm.
wow, like I was holding it back a little. I went this speed. And then you say all out and they go the same or a little bit slower, and then maybe they're discouraged or mentally when they see all out, they are scared or get freaked out.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's a wise point I think he made. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've heard that easy speed term too. When I was swimming the 500 in college, I was always like the first 100 just has to be like easy speed. Just go out like solid but just easy speed kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and that's one thing I'm trying to lean in more on is exactly what you're saying is swim fast, but don't focus so much on, oh, I have to swim fast. Focus on the things that I need to do that will make me swim fast. And then I end up swimming fast, kind of thing. Is
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm focusing on like how my hand is entering the water, how I'm like catching and pulling, and I'm going more like in that 90% effort, but I'm swimming like probably close to my best speed that I can.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And when you swim fast too, it's hard to think like about your stroke and everything. So you gotta do all the work when you're not swimming fast, or like when you're swimming sort of fast, and when want to go fast, you just kind of let your body do what Yeah, I guess you've kind of been training and trying to improve at.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, in this set, 5x400s, which is 2K of work, right? My math is
Yeah.
right. 25 school, 75 swim, and then those are the odds. 20, 30 seconds rest, I think, and then 50 catch up, 50 swim on, yeah, slightly less rest because you're going to be going faster. Or like the same rest, but the interval time will be quicker.
Yeah. And you descend. So maybe you start out and it's only 5 or 10 seconds rest. And then by the end, it's 20 seconds rest.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one, it's another 450s, but 4 rounds of 450s. This is with fins. Back to more kick. The odd rounds are, yeah, descend, kick to sprint essentially. So it's 450s, descend 1 to 4, last one sprint. It's on 45, which is, yeah, it's quick with fins. Even rounds 15 meters underwater off all walls on 45. Yeah, I mean, would be a very tough set for a lot of people for
Dude,
sure.
15
I
meters
might,
underwater.
I might, if we're gonna change it, I think the odd rounds, maybe we just go kind of swim. So
Hmm.
kind of descend, swim. And let's just say descend 1 to 4 to, 90%, like a good
Yeah.
solid effort. Um, the interval on this at 45, I mean, these kids are probably kicking 35. So I would say it's probably a 10 to 15 second rest. Um, was the goal of the workout rider, which, yeah, I'm fine with. I mean, that sounds good. Even rounds, I probably would keep because I like to have people get challenged like that. And 15 meters, maybe you try to go 15 meters off one wall. And if you can do it off one, then maybe you try to do both. But, maybe you just go halfway and then swim backstroke, get that
Hmm.
air and then try to do it again. Just for kind of fun to challenge yourself. You don't have to put too much stock in, wow, I can't rip underwater to 15 meters super fast. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, most people can't either. We're not all pro swimmers,
Hmm.
but I think it'd be good to, yeah, challenge it, kind of learn to do the dolphin kick a little bit better. Most people just kind of kick down. It's like kick, kick, but you really need to kick on both sides of your feet, like feel the
Yeah.
water on both sides and kind of get on that, like a mermaid or a fish tail. I mean, that's essentially
Hmm.
what we're trying to do. Um, maybe you do it on the minute,
Yeah.
give ourselves a little bit. But if you have fins, yeah, put them on for sure. Um, that'll help you get there for sure. And you feel fast, which is, I'm always a big fan of just feeling fast in the water, however you're making yourself do that.
Yeah. I think for this, I'd actually keep the underwaters because a lot of people just don't practice pushing off the wall and going underwater for a little bit longer. Like I see a lot of people at the pool. Well, I see a lot of people at the pool doing some weird stuff off the wall, but I see even like triathletes who they push off and it's like they're almost immediately on the surface of the water or like at the surface. Um, and they don't even try to like stay underwater at all. And I think that's really beneficial for a few reasons. One is for the start of a swim, if you're like running into the water, it's nice to like be able to dive and stay under for a little bit in a streamlined position, especially if there's waves. Like some triathlons have beach starts. It's great to be able to dive under the wave and feel confident to stay under it for a little bit longer as the water rushes over you and you can pop up when there's less water pushing you back. So I think doing underwaters for 15 meters is a great way to like practice that. And you're not going to just magically be calm in an open water situation if you don't practice being underwater in a pool ever. So I think that's like a couple good reasons to every
Yeah.
once in a while do some underwaters.
Those are great reasons for sure. And I really like the open water. People say, "Oh, I don't need to dive or do underwaters. I don't do that in triathlon." It's like, well, if you could, you would in the beach start. And you're that guy who beat you by 100 meters in the first minute of the race. Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah.
So, and especially if you're going to like do pro racing or something like that, there's Aussie exits to some of these races, like you race
Hmm.
ITU or T100 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, it's big. Or even if you're just like standing waist deep and you have to like
Hmm.
jump and kind of dive to start, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can get a body length on everyone around me at a lot of these races just because I have a good entry and I like
Hmm.
do a couple kicks and I come up and then I have clear water. So for age troopers too, it can be free time in triathlon and kind of running into the ocean. And like we said earlier, trying to just sustain a fast speed off the wall, then
Hmm.
you're, neuromuscularly or muscle memory, whatever you want to call it, to try to sustain that speed, maybe for a second, and then built up over time. You're spending a lot of time trying to sustain that max speed and, might make your easy speed faster or easier and you might become more efficient. So everything doesn't work for everyone, but I think in swimming, you just need to check as many boxes as you possibly can, and maybe something will click for you and you'll improve in a way you didn't think you could before. So yeah, I really
Hmm.
like kind of how you frame that.
Yeah, definitely. And even like one of my athletes who I coach is doing Ironman Philippines this weekend, and it's a 2 lap ocean water swim. So they actually get out of the water and do like that Aussie exit. So it's something where, yeah, in age group racing and especially in pro racing, you can definitely benefit from it. Actually, I always think of, I think Alistair Brownlee said this about Henry Skuman. Whenever they start next to each other in ITU races, they dive in and somehow Henry has like half a body length on him. And they haven't even taken a stroke. And Henry's
Yeah,
super short. He's like way shorter than Alistair, but he comes out of the water just half a body length ahead of him just because he has such a tight streamline and he's so efficient.
no, that's awesome.
So,
Yeah, and you can lose feet, and yeah, it can be really important. And it goes back to kind of your practice flip turns quick tip at the beginning.
hmm.
And one thing I'll say, push off the water, try to get past the flags. When you come up to the surface, you have to take one stroke and then your breath. You can't have a streamline and then take a breath before taking a stroke. Like, because you're basically just breaking your streamline, taking, and like immediately you're getting a wave of water to slow you down. Like, you need to stay tight and then take that one stroke, stroke and then a breath. I mean, it can be tough sometimes, but if you get in the habit of it, you don't have to take 3 strokes in and out of the wall, but it's really a half a stroke. Like you just have to take, that one stroke and then you can breathe. So
Hmm.
I see a lot of people coming up, streamlining in Superman, and then coming up and turning their head before. I'm like, you just had a breath 3 seconds ago. Wait one more half second. And I see you laughing because you're obviously guilty of this, but
Yeah.
yeah, it can be a good reminder, I think. And it goes on with the theme of trying to sustain that speed. I mean, because if you did that in a swim race, people would be like, what is this guy doing? Like, you would never do something
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can only do that when I am coming off the wall and I'm breathing to my right. But when I'm breathing to my left, which is like the side I'm not as good at, I usually on the first stroke take a
like.
breath.
Well, the first stroke's fine as long as it's not before the first stroke.
No, no, not before the first stroke.
Okay. No, that's fine. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
breathing on your first stroke is fine, but not breathing before your arm hits that water for the first
Oh
time.
yeah, no, no.
Okay, okay. Because I see a lot of that too.
Yeah.
I'll even see some of those triathlon YouTubers doing that on the regular basis. I said, you trying to improve? Don't do that. Anyway, okay, so this last
100 warm
set,
down. That's
yeah,
it.
100 warm down. I think we kind of chopped it up. So we're
Yeah.
keeping the 15 meters underwater and the odd rounds will, yeah, kind of swim descend.
Yeah.
Um, I guess we can kind of roll in to the hot take.
Oh yeah.
Um, I had this like quote about it. The hot take is, I mean, we can talk about triathletes or whoever. You're spending all this time investing in yourself to get better at swimming or better at triathlon. You're going to spend thousands of dollars on bikes. Like, spend a few $100s and get swim lessons. It's crazy because
Hmm.
people will spend $2,000 to get an aero wheel that'll save them 10 seconds per few miles or whatever it is. But there's so much low hanging fruit. So get a swim lesson, whoever you are, find someone you trust, and yeah, someone in person. Obviously, that's the way to
Hmm.
do it. And yeah, learn how to swim properly because it'll make a big difference.
It will. I have given many adult swim lessons to some of the triathletes I coach, and they're just so surprised at how much improvement they can make even in a single session. If you just tell some like one of my favorite things to tell people is like just look down a little bit more. And then they're like, okay, whatever. So they look down and they're like, wow, I swam 5 seconds faster. Because they're like looking out, like their head's like halfway out of the water and they're just like swimming not horizontally. They're swimming almost like half vertical.
Right. If your head's up, your hips are down, and then you're
Yeah.
dragging through the water. And that's the beauty of it because they've never been taught. And it's
Hmm.
fine. Like you don't need to be embarrassed about it. It's like if you didn't grow up someone teaching you how to swim, how the hell would you know how to putting your head down, put your hips up? But you think about it and someone tells you like, oh, that makes sense. Like you just need someone to help you click things and make it work. But you should never feel bad about yourself being slow or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's what someone's there to help you. And there's so many little things that you can say that will connect with someone and can be really powerful. Um, Even just small little things. Like I was helping the Cal Triathlon team do like some swimming, and this guy kind of had like wiggly hips and stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm like, keep your head still. And he kept his head still, and then everything else fixed itself. It's like things can just work really well for people, and sometimes you need some eyes on, and yeah, it can make a huge difference. So,
Yeah.
and like you
So what
said, just put your head down and it works out.
yeah. So what Greg's saying is don't buy a triathlon bike until you get a swim lesson.
Yeah. If you have zip wheels and a $10,000 bike and you don't spend any time swimming or get a swim lesson, your priorities are wrong.
Okay, that's the hot take, folks. We'll see you on the next episode. Follow us on Instagram. We're gonna post the picture of the swim set, and then we'll also post some fun content on there. And yeah, we also have YouTube if you want to see who has a better goggle or cap tan line between me and Greg. We'll give you a hint. I live in Southern California, so anyways, see you guys on the next one.
See ya.